All right. So what was your situation before joining Service Pro Elite?
Right on. So right before joining Service Pro Elite, I was currently in college, having run a lawn care program. I was trying to run my lawn care program from college. And previous to that, I had tried to get into real estate by getting my real estate license, and I failed epically at that. So at this point in time, I was trying to go to school, trying to learn a lawn care business, and a buddy that had he had a real estate license told me to come get a coffee with him. Met up with him. He's like, "Dude, don't you do lawn care?" He's like, "Have you seen this guy on Instagram? His name's Chase. You should reach out." Next thing you know, I sent you a message.
Boom. So before joining, did you have any doubts about my program?
To be entirely honest, yes. The reason being, I think everyone can relate to this, is when you're going to invest money, you're scared if you've never been through this before. So for the individuals that have never invested in coaching, it's like a foreign thing. You're scared to give someone your money because you don't know the guarantee. And the reality is there is none. But once you've gone through a program like this before, you realize that all the guys that are millionaires, billionaires, successful owners, they all have invested in coaching. There's not a single one that hasn't.
That's a great point, Jacob. Is like, and I was the same way before I bought my first coaching program. You have fear, you have doubt. You've never done this before, just like anything in life. But everybody has doubt before joining it. It's a normal feeling. But once you get into this community, into this program around the right people and adjust your mindset, it's limitless.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing to back that is you're scared to make the investment, but you have to, because if it was free, one, everyone would join it, or two, you wouldn't feel as committed to actually winning. Like for my example, I was at rock bottom. Like I had just sold literally my bed to move out of my apartment in Arizona and drive home with a truck I got off Facebook right as I invested in Chase Gallagher's mentorship program. And I spent my, not my last couple $1,000, but I was getting down to it. But if and we'll talk about it, but Chase will tell you, like, I was relentless. My back was against the wall, and I was going to get my money's worth out of the course, but I was also going to make this work. So you have to invest, or else you have no skin in the game.
Exactly. So what made you decide to take the leap of faith and join Service Pro Elite?
I guess what made me take the leap of faith is I saw your page. A couple of the first things I saw, you see a private jet, you see a luxury car, you see a young individual doing these things. It's not, there's no faking that. And then you hop on a call with Chase, and he tells you exactly what it is. Here's your options. You can invest this, this, and this, and it works. Here's a bunch of people that it's worked for. Do you want to do it? And that's where you're tasked with you making that leap of faith if you want to achieve a lifestyle like that you see on Instagram, because it is real. Or you can, sit on the sidelines and probably a lot won't change for you. It's just the reality.
Exactly. So can you describe your experience with training materials and support provided in my program?
Absolutely. So keep in mind, I did this program over a year ago, so I'm sure you've made some changes. But when I really got into it, the first thing we did was crack into the full video guideline. So it pretty much takes you from, hey, I have a lawn care list, or I don't even have a landscape company, and it tells you everything that you need to start implementing today. So as a student, you're tasked with watching those videos. You've got to get in there and you've got to watch the content and get the layout. Then from there, you've got your weekly coaching calls where you ask your pain points and your questions in your business. And there's no better way to get after it than literally ask someone who's ahead of you. They tell you exactly how to solve it. A bunch of other guys in the room are going to say, hey, this is how I got through that. And then it's up to you to just go implement it. It makes it pretty easy. So that's kind of the process. That's my experience with the program.
Love to hear, brother. And a portion of that is the community that you're in too. Like we talked about even over the weekend. There's guys you call up today that you touch base with, check in, and kind of having that is very valuable.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, a lot of people are short-minded. So you invest amount of money to get some coaching, get some help. But the reality is, if you do it right, you build friends for, maybe the rest of your life. You build connections that'll help you through years of your business, So like for me and that first group that I went through with, all the guys have touched 2 million plus in sales, So it's like, call those guys and be like, hey, Chase, what do I do? Hey, Chris, what do I do? And, everyone's willing to help because we've all gone through the same stuff together.
100%. 100%. So with that being said, Jacob, how did the program help you overcome the challenges you faced in your business?
Tremendously, man. Like at every step in the way. I think my scenario was a little different. It's kind of like one of those stories that it gets you fired up, you know, because like I had no option. Like at one point in time, I quite literally we've talked about this, but I was like sleeping in my truck with a box of all my stuff, and like I was just relentless, dude. I was like, look, I can't wait to join this weekly meeting. You know, I could text Chase and be like, hey, dude, what do I do? What do I do? And it guided me through that chapter in my life. Like literally everything that we talked about in those chats, the next day I would go and implement. Yeah, and then the tools. So like keep in mind, you know, you can do this business or any business by yourself and try and figure it out, and maybe you save some money, but you're gonna pay with time. So why not join a resource or a community where, you know, you get tools like Jobber, like, hey, here's the subscription, here's what you need, here's how you do it, and here's why you need it. Boom, you implement that. Hey, here's how to write an estimate. Boom, that's years and years of someone's experiences and distilled down probably from other great mentors. So here's how you type up an estimate. Here's how you remain profitable. Here's how you deal with this individual. Here's how you hire. Here's what to look for. You know, here's a guy to do your website. Here's a guy to do your taxes, you know, like.
And on top of that, what I love to tell people in this industry is for the first 1 to 3, 5 years, or it could be way less, it could be a couple months, you can either pay for experience via like messing up on the job site, mispricing, or buying false, you know, equipment that you don't actually need, or you can spend 1/4 of that in a coaching program like Service Pro Elite and skip years and years and years ahead. So that's kind of what I push. Because we all know in our business, if you misbid a job, you could easily waste 5, 10, 15, 20 grand.
Yeah, another thing is if you tee yourself up with like the wrong software, you build a client list and database in a software that isn't as robust as some of the stuff that Service Pro is going to guide you to use, or you buy a machine that we all know is like, hey, dude, that's a dud of a machine. Now you're 20 grand in the hole. Or, hey, man, that's a bad truck. You know, like, don't get that one. You know, so when you're first getting started, you're in a very vulnerable phase. You have to be smart. And one way to be smart is to reach out people that are ahead of you, you know, and have a community of people that they can help you avoid those errors.
100%. So in my program, Jacob, were there any aha moments that came across to you during my program?
Yeah, man, there was a moment where I kept posting day in and day out, and I woke up with like 6,000 more followers. You know, I was like, oh, it worked. That was a good aha moment. And then I guess other ones where my posting led to some big jobs. Like I cracked open in my first year an 85K like kitchen fire pit paver project, and that guy had been following me on Facebook and social media. And for anyone that has ever played video games and maybe watches your stuff, he literally designed and built Rainbow Six Siege, which is one of the most popular video games like ever made. But you know, that guy found me by posting, which part of posting was number 1, phase 1 implementation from Service Pro Elite and Chase.
100%. And that's something big we talk about. I think another aha moment for you was on one of our first couple calls, like 1 to 3 calls, where you know you were down in Arizona and I'm looking out the window. I'm like, damn, that looks real green out there. It's in the middle of winter. And because I'm thinking you're in Colorado, but then you told me, well, I'm in school. I run this business remotely. I'm like, oh, hell no. So then I was like, let's think about something here we could do, you know? And I was like, I mean, we did the math together. We had a common sense conversation and it didn't make sense for you to be in school.
Yeah, exactly. That was like sometimes the scariest jumps off the cliffs and ledges. Like you can literally just break those down to, like you said, common sense aha moment. Like I talked with Chase. He's like, well, dude, what are you going to do when you graduate? And, you know, he's like, I'll be 3 years ahead of you and you'll just be getting out of school. And then Chris, Texas Landscaping, he was like, man, I graduated and the first thing I did was go back to my landscape company and I would have been better off just starting today. And so like, it just took some positive encouragement for me to be like, dude, why would I trash all this time and money on school when like, this is probably what I'm going to do like right now. And this guy's in a private jet and has a Corvette. Like, I don't think my professor doesn't have that. So why would I listen to them? So, you know, that's kind of the aha moment.
We're going to get you your Lambo here, Jacob, soon.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
All right. So what results have you seen since implementing the strategies from the program?
Oh, I mean, I credit a lot of my success to the program. It's, you know, I was given the layout, to put it on paper. I guess in my first year of business, did about 1.4 million in top line sales. So that was very much a credit to the program. My crews that I still have today, we structured and formatted that following a lot of Service Pro Elite's, you know, guidelines and how to do this properly. Everything, man, you know, Jobber, I use it today and now I'm an affiliate with them. So, you know, it's everything is ringing true to this moment of what we implement. So it doesn't just start and go, it stays.
Right. And so you did 1.4 million in the year 2024.
Yes, sir.
And then what do you got on track to do in this year?
Right now we're chasing down about 2.3, 2.4.
Good. Good. This is one of my favorite questions because, you know, we want a result from the hard work we put in, but how has your lifestyle changed since achieving this success?
Oh, it's a night and day thing. I mean, you go from sleeping out of your truck. In year one, I was able to purchase a fourplex. You know, it's $1 million building that I was able to get in there and renovate. And so my landscape business allowed me the cash flow, money, and ability to do that. You know, so you got to credit that. It's an immense lifestyle change, and we're building long-term wealth.
100%. And then, you know, other things like literally what happened to us last week, where, you know, you and I were on this on a Zoom call very similar to this, and we were chatting about different business stuff. And I'm like, you know, you're like, yo, dude, we got to catch up for like a beer and just hang out. I'm like, dude, come to New York City next weekend. Little do you know, him and Charlie are out there, you know, rolling around Manhattan, looking up, you know?
Yeah, everything changes, man. I mean, you know, boom, who else can do that? You invest in a program, you invest in a system, you build great friends, you build business partners, and you can just, you know, within 2-3 days say, you know what, boom, business is doing great. I've got my systems and processes in place. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, fly out and have a good time and build this relationship further, do awesome stuff. You know, it's amazing. It's a blessing.
And what I love about you and Charlie, you're very similar to how I live, where, you know, it's very hard to turn off the work mode. And so like, even like you guys were so disciplined, and I love to see it. Like you guys got to the hotel, checked in, you're like, all right, I don't think you even checked in. You got to the hotel, sat down at some coffee shop and said, all right, we have work to do. We need to get our work done, and then we're going to go hang out and party or whatever. Very respectable.
Thank you, sir. You too, man. It's all a hustle. You pull up and see Chase in person, I bet you he has a camera recording and he's filming content. He's pushing things forward. He's taking calls. He's shooting texts. But at any point in time, too, you got to do, you know, you got to cut it off and be present in the room. So you got to find that balance still, too.
1,000%. 1,000%. All right. So what specific milestones are you most proud of within your business?
Year one, crossing $1 million was awesome. I got featured in a magazine, so that was cool. I was on the front cover with Deion Sanders. That was a pretty cool feature. And then he commented on my Instagram. So hopefully I still do a driveway for him at some point. But that was, you know, year one, kind of some really cool moments. Obviously the apartment complex and purchasing real estate. You know, I had been wanting to do that for years and years up to college. And then boom, my landscape coaching program led to that goal and being achieved. This year, I guess some of the big moments, you know, I've taken some great trips with my business partner, Charlie, where, you know, you're across the world hustling, making money, but, you know, you're in Australia, you're in South America, you're on the beach, you know, you're making calls, you're doing these things. It's an amazing feeling. And your whole team is still pushing projects forward. And you're building a culture and a team where everyone can make money and build a great life and be a part of a great thing. So now it's just for me focused on how do I build the best possible team? You know, how do we build the best working environment? And how do we all, you know, truly rise to be the top company and top performer here in Colorado?
100%. 100%. You guys are definitely on your way. And like you said, recruiting top tier talent is the best and fastest way to do it. So with that being said, what advice would you give to someone considering joining my program?
I mean, you want to stay where you're at, or do you want to, you know, do you want to be at the top? Do you want to learn? Do you want to progress? This is how you do it. So if you're at that phase where you're lost or you don't know what to do, that's why this exists. And so I would not make that hesitation. It's got to be, I mean, here's the thing, and I'll be honest, and hopefully this encourages the right people to invest, is that if you're not a dog and you're not willing to put in the work, you're gonna waste your money. But if you're a dog and you're willing to put in the work, this is going to be the best dollar you ever spent. Like, this dollar literally multiplies into millions. So, you know, don't be scared. If you've got the vision, you've got the heart, you've got the drive, that's all you truly need. So make the investment.
Jacob, I love that you answered almost perfectly, because a lot of the guys, like, they'll be like, well, you got to buy, you got to invest, just do it. And yes, you can if you want to, but like you said, you have to be ready to put in the work. This isn't like a fucking pay me money, get rich quick scheme. Like, it doesn't work like that. But if you're ready to put boots on the ground and you just need these key guide points and these key knowledge points and directions, those two mixed together, success.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, is like, be coaching program, or, I've had some students myself. You don't want them to give you money and for them to not go out there and win. Like, it's not what a coaching program is about. That's a scam. When you join Service Pro Elite, like, it's an exclusive club. It's a membership to where you've got to be an individual that's willing to put in the work. Because on paper, if you pay Chase Gallagher or Service Pro Elite or any coaching program and you don't go get results, there's no, the whole point is for this program to produce results. And so that's why it costs money, because the individuals willing to invest usually are going to get the best results.
100%, 100%. So how do you plan on continue growing your company, moving forward?
So right now we're implementing a lot of stuff. A lot of it is lead gen stuff. So a lot of it is ads, promotional stuff, B2B sales, starting to build bigger relationships. Outside of that is creating scalable programs, consistent SOPs where guys know exactly what to do. And we have a very well designed hierarchy to where you're not mixing roles. And so that's what we're trying to implement right now. Every crew is lethal. Every crew has the best machines. Every crew has the best equipment, and every single player is an A+ player. And so I would rather stay a smaller organization as far as the number of people we have, but every person is a weapon, versus growing so big and so fast that, you don't want to do 10 million at 5%. You're going to hate your life. You'd rather do 1 million at a great margin and have weapons, because then it feels easy.
100%. I agree with you 150%. I don't want to be this guy doing 5 million a year, making 500,000. I want to be 5 million, making 1.5, 1.8. All right. Why would you recommend my coaching program to others?
I would recommend Service Pro to other individuals. If you're at a point where either your service-based business is not doing the revenue that you want, and you want to increase your revenue, you want the tools and you want the team to get you there. But more importantly, I would recommend this program to individuals that are looking to master business, because the reality is it's not just a landscape program. This is a service-based business program. This is going to help you be successful in your service-based business. It's going to give you the tools that you need to be better. So how far you take it is up to you, but no matter what, the principles remain the same.
100%. I say the same thing, dude. It's not about landscaping, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. It's about these main tier things within these businesses that's going to make us a successful company. And with that, more things can happen in your personal life to be successful and kind of bless others. So Jacob, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on here.